Hello everybody. Today I'll be showing you how to create SSH keys and put them on your remote Ubuntu server. I've been to many websites and they show you how to generate SSH keys, but they don't exactly explicitly state how to put them on your server. Some do, some don't. And I find them exceedingly rare to tell you how to do that from your command line. People tell you to use a flash drive, or they'll tell you to use something like PuTTY. I've used PuTTY before. The PuTTY tool, it's easy, it's simple, but there's problems with it. With Visual Studio Code, you can't use any port forwarding to access files with any SSH keys generated by PuTTY. It doesn't work that way. If you try to use Git or Git remote server, PuTTY doesn't work with that either, as far as I understand. You'll have to check me on the Git one, for example. But let's begin. So I'm assuming you already have your Git, or I'm sorry, not your Git. I'm already assuming that you have your SSH server, your open SSH server configured on Ubuntu. So I'm not going to start with that. We're just going to generate the SSH keys from within Windows, and then we're going to transfer them to your Ubuntu server remotely. Now you need to know your server's IP address, obviously. So let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to select my terminal of choice. So we're going to select the Windows terminal. I'm using Windows 11 in case anybody's wondering. Okay, so I'm already going to try and reach out and SSH into my server. So it's just my Git server, right? So SSH Git at my IP address, or my Git server's IP address. And there we go. It's prompting me for a password. Whoops, wrong password. Here we go. See, everything seems to be working now. Just gonna log out now. Now we need to set our working directory. So let's clear the screen right now. We're going to set our working directory to the .ssh folder within your home directory. There we go. And let's get a printout of the contents. So all we have is one file, known hosts. You should already have that if you've SSH'd at least once into your server. So let's start with generating the SSH key file. So we're going to type in SSH-keygen. This is going to be a passwordless SSH, okay? So we're not going to enter in any passwords. Let's give it a name. I'm going to call mine Git. Then it's going to ask me for a passphrase. I'm going to skip the password. I don't need it. And there we go. We have now created our RSA key. But now here's the part that I haven't seen a whole bunch on the internet. And that's how to copy the file into your server. There's a tool within Windows called SCP, Secure Copy Protocol. And all you have to do is just type in SCP, the name of the public key file, and then the server location. So you're going to type in the server name at the IP address, colon, and then your root directory to the authorized key files, which is in the .ssh file of your host. So let's get a list of our files again. Sorry, I have allergies right now, so bear with me. Okay, so we have our Git file, which is our private key, and then we have our public key, so git.pub. It's just our public key. Now here comes the SCP command, which nobody really talks about a whole bunch on the internet when you go to look up how to generate public key files. So SCP git.pub. So when you do find those that tell you to use SCP, they'll have you use the tilde key. And that's basically the environment variable for your root directory. So your user name, your root directory of that within the C drive, So it's usually C users, then your name. That's your root directory. But sometimes that isn't always configured in your environment variables. And it's kind of a pain to set up. So it's just easier if you set your working directory to the .ssh folder on your machine, because then you can just reference the file name itself. There's no tilde key. There's no slashes or anything like that. No relative file paths, nothing. Then now that we have our file selected here, we're going to basically type in the SSH information. It's just like typing in SSH without the SSH point. So it's going to be get at /home/get/.ssh/authorized keys. Hit enter. That's a good sign. It's asking us for a password, so we've obviously have the right IP address, the right username. Now we're going to type in a password. And there we have it, 100% uploaded. That is now appended to the authorized key file. Now, we've officially uploaded our public key to our server, and it's now appended to the authorized key file. So we've just completed the main task of this video. But there's one more problem. You have to have your config file. As I've seen other sites, many websites, many people on the internet not tell you about the fact that you need to generate a config file for Windows. You need to tell them what SSH, what private key file you're going to be using for each particular host. And that's what we're going to do right now. So we need to use a editor of our choice. In this case, I'm just going to use Notepad++. It's just easier this way. Okay. Going to save it. Let's go on. Save as. Okay, let's go to the .ssh folder. And it's going to save it with an extension. I'm not entirely sure how to stop it from saving with an extension. Your config file cannot have an extension. It can't say .txt. It cannot say any of those things. It has to be a plain text file. We're going to call it config. It's going to save it as a txt file, but we'll fix that soon. Close it. We're going to move to our directory here. .ssh. And then we're going to find our config.txt. Now, if you're in Windows 11, you can click the View button right up here. Then move down to Show, File Name Extensions. Click that. Then it will show like config.txt. Now we're going to rename it. Oops. Show more options, rename. We're going to remove that txt extension. Yes, that's what we want. Now we're going to reopen it. Oops, it's highlighted. Reopen. Notepad++. All right, now we're ready to start populating with our information. So, the first thing we need to do is we need to type in host, and we're going to call it by the host name. So it's 172.16.0.6. We're going to hit tab, host name, 172.16.0.6. Then we're going to name the user, and it's get. Add keys to agent, yes. Identity. This is where we identify our file. Now this one you will need the absolute path. I'm not going to play with any tilde keys, nothing like that. It's just going to be the absolute path. C drive / users / your username .ssh and then your git.hub. Well, let's see if this works. Okay, let's make sure that our file shows up. Yep, now let's try it. Okay, so we misspelled a word. Yep, add keys to agent. Let's try again. Unprotected private key file. That was new. Git.hub. Oh yeah, I see. I referenced the public key. Okay, let's crash load. And there we have it. We have now successfully created our public and private keys, placed our public key on our server, concatenated it into the authorized key file, or appended it into the authorized key file, and have successfully created the configuration file. On top of all of that, we have now connected to our server SSH, or with a passwordless SSH. I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope you find it helpful. If you have any suggestions, please leave them below in the comment section. Thank you.